What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new horror film that has been going around the internet like crazy. I feel like this is very similar to the film Speak No Evil, where just everyone is talking about this movie, mostly because of its brutal nature. A lot of people are discussing this film because they're talking about how just unrelenting and brutal it is. And I was hoping to get to catch this in the theater when it came around. It did not hit theaters near me at all. I looked for it, couldn't find it. So I had to wait until it dropped on Shudder. But I was very excited to watch this because it was from the same director as the film Terrified, which also is still available to stream on Shudder. And I really enjoyed Terrified. I don't think it's a perfect film, but I think it executes its scare factor really well. I think it has great tension, fantastic cinematography. And so I was really looking forward to watching this movie after hearing the initial buzz surrounding it. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is When Evil Lurks. When Evil Lurks is directed by Demián Rugna. In a remote village, two brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself. They decide to get rid of the man, but merely succeed in helping him deliver the inferno. So, as I said, I've seen Terrified, really enjoyed it, was really looking forward to watching this film. And this is 100% my jam. This movie was fantastic. It's one of my favorite things I've watched this year. I had a couple of problems with it watching it. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's incredibly effective. I think it's really original. It has fantastic performances, great cinematography, and it does something that I really appreciate in horror films that not a lot do anymore, and that is create a really brutal and unforgiving concept and sticking with it. Similar to A24's Talk to Me this year, which is a really bleak and unforgiving horror movie that truly, the horror resonates with you long after you watch the film. Those are the types of movies I enjoy watching, ones that stick with me for a really long time. And When Evil Lurks is 100% that. So as the plot description states, we're introduced to these two brothers. The lead character is Pedro. They live in this very small community. And one day the brothers are out together because they heard gunshots in the middle of the night. And they go out and they find this guy laying in the middle of nowhere, and he's all ripped to shreds. He has claw marks all over him, and they're not 100% sure what's going on. So they go through the town to investigate, and they go to this house that this little old lady and her son live there. And through conversations, we find out that her other son has been sick for about a year, and the mother believes him to be possessed. We learn that these possessed people are referred to as rotten, and this is a common thing in this world. This is something that people know about. They may not have necessarily experienced it personally, but the thing they say throughout the film is, if you've seen it, you'll know. And we very quickly find out why. This man, when they go into the room, is covered in these like pus balls. His body is super swollen. He's alive, but he's essentially asking someone to kill him. And what we find out is the person who is dead in the middle of nowhere was someone who is called, I think it's called a cleaner, who comes and takes care of these rotten, but there's a very specific way that you have to kill them. If you just come up and shoot them, it spreads the plague to everyone in a nearby radius. Everyone gets infected. And so there's a specific way that it has to be done. Well, another man is introduced who lives nearby, who believes his farm is being plagued because of this. He gets incredibly frustrated and tries to get the two brothers to go kill this guy. Well, Pedro says, we can't just shoot him. We can't kill him. We have to find a proper way to dispose him. So they load him on a truck, and they're driving off, and this little kid pulls into the middle of the road on a bike. He ends up getting out of the way, and they find out the man that they were trying to dispose of, the rotten, fell off the back of the truck, and they just kind of blow it off. Well, shortly after, things start happening to the man who asked the two brothers to help's family and to Pedro's family. And throughout the film, we see how whatever this entity is that's possessing these people takes over in ways that you'll never expect. And it just happens in an instant. It's always by surprise, and it's accompanied by truly violent, horrific imagery that really caught me off guard. One of the things about Terrified, there were multiple moments in that movie that really surprised me. I really like when horror directors can catch me off guard anymore. And this film caught me off guard multiple times. There is a scene in this movie involving a dog that is probably one of the most brutal things I've watched in a movie in several years. Really surprised me that they went there and showed the type of thing that they were showing on screen, and that is repetitive through the film. Things that will just catch you off guard in every moment, and I think a lot of that has to do with the eerie atmosphere that is built up at the very beginning. We're really uncertain as to what's going on, and they just drop you straight into these brothers in this house together, gunshots going off, and we just go from there, and it never stops. There is never a moment in this movie that it slows down and really just doesn't dive more into the lore of this film. We really start to unravel what this rotten is, the way people go about getting rid of it. Pedro's mother, when they pick her up in the movie, gives some expositional dialogue about it that kind of explains little nuances to it. It's never overtly just said exactly 100% what this is. And I think that's another thing I really like about it, is that the uncertainty of it. You could piece together so much of it in your brain, and there's little things told to you by the director as to what's going on, but it's never just 100% spelled out for you. All you know is this thing is bad and it can hurt your entire family. And I think that it's really brilliantly presented. The practical effects in this are incredible. It looks so gnarly. There's a lot of goop and grime and blood and gore. The practicality of it is incredibly impressive, and I loved it. I thought that it was so well handled. All the performances in this film from top to bottom are fantastic. The twists and turns that are introduced throughout this film took me by surprise consistently. I thought I might have had it pegged down as to what was going to happen about the halfway point in the film. No idea. It went in so many different directions that really surprised me. And the other thing that was really impressive that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about is how it's just a brutal horror film on its surface, but when you're watching the film and you start to learn more about Pedro's character, so much of what's going on screen is an allegory for divorce in a way that's really fantastic. Pedro's character is going through a divorce. Something happened between him and his wife. He really wants to be with his kids, and when he goes and visits his wife in the movie, they have this really tense argument. You can tell something's going on between them. The kids still really love their dad, and we slowly get information as to why the separation occurred throughout the movie. But what I think's so interesting is the way this virus kind of goes in and plagues families, and he starts losing family members and people become detached. And I think it's so prevalent to what a lot of people who deal with divorce go through, and that, like, no matter what the separation is like, whether it's good, whether it's bad, you often lose family members and communications with people. And I thought that it was really cool that they could use that possession as an allegory for what a lot of people who go through divorce experience. And I think it's handled really well throughout the film. And even if you don't pick up on that through the movie, it's just a really great, straightforward horror film that's really brutal. And the third act kind of just left my jaw on the floor. Similar to Talk to Me, it's brutal and unforgiving in the best way possible. And I think some of the best horror I've watched in my life are the movies that just do not pull punches. I love films that are willing to go there and that they're willing to say, hey, this is the type of movie that this is. Be ready, pack it in. We're not going to stop. And that's exactly what When Evil Lurks is. This is up there with the best movie Shudder has released. Between this and Hell House LLC Origins, The Carmichael Manor, the two best things on Shudder right now. Two very different movies that are both perfectly executed with great performances. There's a couple of qualms I have with a few pacing moments throughout. I think there might be some elements that could have been a little bit more explored, but my rating of this movie could get higher the next time I watch it, but I still really loved it a lot. It's one of the best horror movies I've watched the whole year, and if you haven't checked this out yet, please do yourself a favor, get on Shudder and watch it immediately. So have you seen When Evil Lurks? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was incredible. It was brutal, it was unrelenting, it had great performances, and I'm already excited to visit it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.